So based on your book and the presentation you just gave, you seem to value maintaining a level of respect and kindness and gentleness for the people you evangelize to. I'm agnostic and have experience talking with other Christians in varying capacities. I think the quote you used in your book, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, actually is an excellent way of putting it. The biggest problem with Christianity is Christians. Quite a few of the Christians I've met have talked at me or even down to me rather than talking to me about their beliefs. So my question is, if you could give Christians any advice about how to share the gospel with non-Christians in a productive manner, what would it be?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Thank you for bringing it up. First thing I would say, Megan, is that you shouldn't expect other people to agree with you. In fact, a lot of people ask me, Frank, on a college campus, sometimes people get testy. Why don't you get mad back? And I say to them, why should I get mad back? I mean, I'm 64 years old. When I was 24, I didn't agree with my 64-year-old self, right? Why should I expect someone who's 24 with a background I don't know about? I don't know where the person has come from, what they've read, what they haven't read, what they've experienced. I have no idea. Why should I expect that person to be where I am spiritually right now? When I was in her shoes or his shoes, I wasn't where I am now. In fact, why do we expect everybody to agree with us? Why do we expect everyone to be right where we are spiritually now when 5 years ago we weren't where we are now? I mean, think about that. And when you're answering a question, you're not answering just a question, you're answering a person. And so what I would recommend Christians do is I would ask them to ask more questions and learn where the person's coming from. Like I would, if we had time to sit down, I would ask you, what's your upbringing? What have you read? What haven't you read? Have you had negative experiences? By the way, I've said this before, one of the biggest problems with Christianity is Christians, as you know. But I'd also encourage people to think about whether or not bad Christians invalidate Christianity, because they don't. And the way to get at that, Megan, is to ask this question. When somebody plays Beethoven poorly, who do you blame?
The person, not Beethoven.
Yeah, you don't blame Beethoven, right? You blame the player. So when somebody plays Jesus poorly, you don't blame Jesus. Look, just because I'm not true and beautiful doesn't mean Jesus isn't true and beautiful. So I tell people that Christianity is not Christians, Christianity is Jesus. Keep your eyes on Jesus. In fact, when people say you're a hypocrite, I agree with them. Yes, I am a hypocrite. If I wasn't, I wouldn't need a savior. But by the way, do you know what? Everybody's a hypocrite. Do you realize that? Do you know anybody that consistently lives every single thing they believe? Christians don't, Muslims don't, atheists don't, New Agers don't, nobody does. Because we're all fallen, and that's why we all need a savior. So I would ask a lot of questions. One question I like to ask people, maybe I can ask you this question now. You seem open-minded. I would ask, if Christianity really was true, would you become a Christian?
Yes.
Perfect. You're the kind of person I want to talk to then. If the person says no or hesitates, it's not a head problem then, it's a heart problem, right? Mm-hmm. So I would just ask Christians to spend a lot more time, instead of looking at someone as a project, look at somebody as a person and just ask questions and see if you can help them. Take an interest in them. Yeah. Does that make sense? Would that work, do you think?
I think so. Thank you.
And even if it doesn't work, even if you never become a Christian, it's still the right thing to do, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because there is a God and there is a standard of treating people. Mm-hmm. Make sense?
Yes.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
That's one of the best questions I've ever had. Thank you.
Thank you.